Over the next 5 weeks, we're going to see drivers battle it out across some of the world's most famous race circuits.
Formula E drivers racing Formula 1 drivers, racing F3 drivers. Crash there! Lando Norris out of the race.
He's just been untouchable.
Round 1 victory, Mohammed Ibrahim.
Hello and welcome to the second round of the Isolation eRacing series. We have an impressive lineup of drivers from across all walks of motorsport who each week battle it out across some of the world's finest race circuits. Tonight is no exception. We're off to Suzuka in Japan, a circuit that was built in 1962 and is one of the most popular on the Formula 1 calendar. Last year, it was Britain's Lewis Hamilton who set a new lap record there with a time of just under 1 minute 31. Can any of our drivers match or better his performance tonight? Well, we'll soon find out. But first of all, over to a man who certainly knows this circuit well. He is the current Japanese Formula 3 champion, and he's about to take us on a tour of the circuit. Let's join Sasha Fenestraz.
So here we are, starting a lap of Suzuka. I think one of the best tracks I've ever driven in. One of the hardest as well. Sector 1 here is very difficult. Okay, we're starting with a stop and go penalty. That's alright, it's not a problem, just a test. So into turn 1, flat until the apex around. Preparing turn 2 for the first sector. Taking a bit of a late apex, a bit of curve outside, preparing the next one. Here should be nearly flat. Then all of this, you just prepare for the last left up the hill. So you just don't push too much, not too wide here. Preparing a little bit the exit of this one for this one. This one has to be flat. It should be easy flat. Not there. Next one, yeah, it's kind of a small break. No downshift. Don't take that big curve. Down to third. Take a bit of inside apex. Bottoming out on the outside there. Next corner flat. Braking very straight into this hairpin down to first. Bit of minimum speed. Taking a bit of the outside curb. Thinking a bit about the exit there because of course it's a long straight, so it's kind of important. Now next one is a nice corner. Just preparing as much as you can so you're straight for the braking. Downshifting to fifth. Oh, missing a bit. Fourth. And then this one third, and preparing the exit because of course then you have a long straight until the last corner. That corner actually you could do it with actually one turn only, like steering wheel once. This corner, easy flat, it's not even a corner anymore. So just, yeah, easy. Then preparing the braking for this one, braking around the 100 meters board. And downshifting, there we go. Downshifting to second, not first actually. And then, yeah, preparing a bit the exit, but not too much because the finish line is quite close. And then here we are, one lap around Suzuka.
We've just seen you driving a lap of the circuit. You're no stranger to the Suzuka circuit in reality, in real life, are you? How do you feel about this circuit?
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, so of course it's a nice track. I know it pretty well now. I've done 1 year here in Japan. I'm starting my second. So I've been driving quite a bit in Suzuka. It's a track where most of the Japanese championship goes quite a lot. So I've raced quite often already there. And it's a very nice track. It's very tricky. The first sector is very difficult to get it right. Very easy to lose a lot of time. So yeah, it's a nice track where, as you say, I know it pretty well. So at the moment,
let's not discount the fact that you are currently the Japanese Formula 3 champion. Now you're racing the same sort of chassis here, the Dallara chassis, on the same circuit, but from a sim. How different is that feel for you?
It's different feeling, of course. You don't feel that much like the G-force and all of that, like the wind and so on. But it's still like a lot of pressure and a lot of like concentration to be quick. I think you need to be focused as much as real life.
I was talking to Enzo And he was saying that he gets really tense in his arms in a totally different way to as he would in a race car, because he's trying so hard, and it's the physical effort as well, because you can't make that mistake, but you want to push. Do you get that feeling?
Yes, we are like very tense into the steering and everything. And I think the concentration we are going through on the simulator, I would say, is as much or even maybe a bit more than the real car, because it's a lot more difficult, really. As I said before, the limits of the car is more difficult to find the limits of the car. So you need to be a lot more concentrated and trying to have the best feeling possible to not spin or crash, let's say.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you actually race on this circuit. I feel like you should be owning it tonight.
Hopefully. We'll see. I've been training a little bit, but yes, I'll do my best, and we'll see. If not, I'll be happy to participate anyway.
Excellent stuff. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and have a great race.
Thank you.
Well, let's now head trackside with our race commentators, Chris McCarthy and Jack Kinane.
Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to the second round of the Isolation eRacing series. This evening, we are going to be racing at Suzuka once again in F3 cars. My name's Chris McCarthy. I'm going to be joined on commentary this evening by Jack Kinane. It's going to be a fantastic evening of racing. What's coming up? Well, we're going to have 4 races for you this evening. 64 drivers are currently out on track at the moment, taking part in qualifying. That will then determine the grids for 3 separate heats. Those 3 heats will be used to narrow us down from 64 drivers to just 36 drivers, and at the end of the show, those 36 drivers will be taking part in a feature race where the top 10 will score championship points. So we'll bring you up to speed with what happened in qualifying when we come back. But first of all, we're going to go back to Gemma, who's speaking with Sebastian Montoya.
Okay, Sebastian, you've just turned 15 throughout the whole lockdown and coronavirus craziness. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Who do you look up to for your inspiration? You know, is it a case of, obviously your dad, Juan Pablo, is an incredibly well-known driver. Is it your dad that you look up to, or are there other drivers now that you're looking up to?
So now on the grid, I really like Max Verstappen because he reminds me a lot of my dad. And they say, like, a lot of people that I drive like Max Verstappen, like in karting. And honestly, that's like, I really like him because of the way he drives, because no matter who you are, he'll just go because all he wants to do is win. And at the end of the day, that's what we all want. We just want to be the fastest and just win as much as we can. So I look up a lot to him, and also Ayrton Senna, just because of the dedication he put into racing.
Who do you relate your style to?
Honestly, my grandfather. Not a lot of people talk about him. He was really successful in Colombia, but sadly ran out of money and couldn't race further. But like when I was just growing up, like my dad was always there for me, and also my grandpa, because my dad was racing NASCAR when I was growing up in the first stages of karting, and honestly, I learned everything I did from them too.
This year, 2020, was meant to be your single-seater debut year, Formula 4 for you. Things obviously are slightly turned upside down and on their heads for everybody across the world, but looking forward to getting out into your single-seater career?
Yeah, I did a couple of tests in November. At the beginning, we struggled a little, but we just worked hard with the team and made great improvements. At the end, we showed really good speed, which was really promising. And I was just like preparing the whole winter season just to get ready. And as soon, because I was about to hop on the plane. I was like 20 minutes before my flight. And then we got a call from the team that they canceled our test. And then from there on, we were in lockdown. So I haven't driven a car this year. It's kind of sad. But hopefully I can hop back in soon.
I guess the sim has helped you to at least keep your rhythm with driving.
Yeah, like I said, I'm driving a lot of things. So my technique has gotten a lot better. Like I was talking with my dad the other day, and how much I've evolved the past month, like physically, mentally, and just my driving style has like really like shown of how it can be, just because all of these like tiny details that you need to learn in the first year, I'm learning it right now. So like when I hop into the car, I know exactly what I have to do.
Are you looking forward to racing around Suzuka?
Yes, honestly, Suzuka's been one of my favorite tracks. The battle between Senna and Prost for the championship was honestly really cool to see. Like when I was a little kid growing up watching those little YouTube videos, and the history in the track is just amazing. So yeah, I'm very excited.
Well, have a great race tonight. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Great to hear from Sebastian Montoya, the son, of course, of Juan Pablo Montoya, recently turning 15 years old, as Gemma said as well. You may have noticed a Las Vegas trophy in the background. That is not because Seb Montoya went over there and won big in one of the casinos. Kind of did, though. He actually took part in an event called Rock the Rio in 2018. Was lucky enough to actually be commentating on that as well. Took part in the car part of the Rio Hotel, and Sebastian won that title, and I'm sure he's going to win many more in his career. He's just signed with the Prema team to race in the Italian F4 Championship this year. Well, thank you for joining us live on BT Sport. As I said, my name's Chris McCarthy. Jack Cannan is going to be joining me on commentary throughout the evening. Jack, this is the second round of the championship. We kicked it off with a brilliant race last week. It was a fantastic way to get the championship underway at Watkins Glen. Mohamed Ibrahim took the win there from Nicolas Verone and Ramiz Azam. The other 7 drivers to score points were Mike Epps, Oliver Rowland, Felipe Drugovich, Liam Lawson, Ramon Pinheiro, Casper Stuka, and Sandy Mitchell. And as we can see, Jack, Ibrahim once again going along very well here in qualifying.
Yeah, seems to be the man to beat this championship so far. Took the win in Watkins Glen, as you said, looking very quick today as well. Oliver Rowland looking quick as well, for sure, third at the moment. Drivers are currently in the middle of the lone qualifying session on iRacing, so the drivers have the track to themselves. They have 2 laps to try and set their fastest time, and we're ticking to the end of it. Just a minute left in qualifying now as we watch Nico Verone come to the line to see what he can set.
Yeah, Nico Verone coming up to the line, was sitting in 23rd place and now goes up to 16th. So what is happening here? Well, the 64 drivers are on track. As Jack said, they're all on track individually. At the end of this, the drivers 1st, 4th and 7th are going to go into heat number 1. The drivers 2nd, 5th and 8th will go into heat number 2. As you can see, positions to your left, and drivers who finish 3rd, 6th and 9th will go into heat number 3. There will then be 5-lap heats. The top 12 in each will go through. They will go into the feature race, which will be at the end of the evening. It will be a 9-lap race, and the top 10 there will score championship points. So looks like they are gridding up for the first heat. Ibrahim once again going quickest overall. He's going to be on pole for this one alongside Azam Drugovich as well up there in 3rd place. Danny Yukadea, great to have him with us, DTM driver. He is in 4th place. Casper Stuka, who did very well at the first round, gaining 15 places to get a top 10 finish. Then we got Nico Verone, Cameron Daz in there as well. So big names, Jack, and I'll hand over to you now to talk us through the race start.
Yeah, for sure. So let's see how they get on. Ibrahim Azam, the 2 championship contenders from last month, are on the front row of the grid next to other, and Drugovich. It couldn't get any more competitive between these guys. It's going to be really interesting to see how they get on in this first heat. So the drivers have 2 minutes to get to the grid, so we might have another couple of seconds here, but here we go. The lights are about to illuminate. Ibrahim on your right-hand side, Azam on your left-hand side. Here we go. Lights are out and away we go. It's a good start from Azam and a brilliant one from Drugovich from the 2nd row of the grid. Yukadea getting up the inside as well, but Ibrahim tries to cover off Azam. He's not going to be able to quite do that as they head towards turn 1. Azam up the inside. Yukadea follows him through, and also Stuka goes up the inside too, through turn 1 and 2. And it's a fantastic. Azam's a car off the road. Verone's off the road in the background, and they come through all clean there. Azam, Yukadea, Ibrahim, and Stuka. Drugovich drops to 5th. Fantastic start from Azam and Yukadea.
Yeah, a shame there for Verone, the British F3 driver, 2nd in the championship, and he's off. Don't forget, the main thing about... Oh, no, leaders come round. Azam, big mistake, and Azam has spun round. A rare mistake from the Canadian, and Ramiz Azam is facing the wrong way. Someone else also off into the gravel as well. I think Alcaraz has hit problems. Ido Cohen has hit problems as well. Lucas Dunner is missing a rear wing, so he is going to be out of the race. You have to be in the top 12 to go through this race. That is all this race is about, really. You've got to finish in the top 12, then you go through to the feature race, and that's where the points are scored. And Azam is in danger of not being able to get through. There's Joe Turney. He has had a bit of an incident there, so he is now dropping down the order. I think Nick Yellerly is out as well. So looks like, Jack, that we only have 12 drivers left on track now, so this will just be to determine where they start. Oh, Kasper Stuka just getting a rear wheel on the curb there, coming through Spoon Curve. That's going to lose him a position, so he's dropped down to, I think, what is now 4th place, but nevertheless, still a good start from the young karting driver. So, well, only 12 drivers left. This will now determine where they start in the feature race. Whoever wins this will be pole. Whoever's second here will start 4th in that feature race, and so on. But it's Danny Yunkadea who's leading, Jack, as we come across the line to complete lap number 1 of 5.
He's kept it clean, start from the second row straight up the inside. Ibrahim started on pole, he drops to second. Drugovic up to third. Kasper Stuka and Mateusz Kaprik are together. The two poles are now going to start fighting it out. Jonathan Hoggard, Luke Bennett, Cameron Das, Oliver Jarvis and Sadalier round out your top 10. It's not all over for Azam. He's up to 11th. He's still there, so he's in with a chance of making the feature. But it was an unusual mistake at the top of the hill to see from Ramiz coming up the hill right there. But right now, Yunkadea in control. But Ibrahim starting to come under pressure from the reigning champion, Felipe Drugovic.
Yeah, as you said there, Yunkadea leading the way at the moment. Great to have Danny Yunkadea with us in this event. We've got Felipe Drugovic we are watching on screen at the moment, the FIA F2 driver. We've got drivers from all sorts of categories: F1, DTM, FIA World Endurance Championship, IndyCar, former NASCAR drivers as well. Name a championship and I'll tell you the driver that we have from that championship in this event. Over 100 drivers are eligible to race in this after going through the qualifying through the April Isolation Series. This now the Isolation eRacing Series being covered live for you on BT Sport, where you can watch all the best drivers around the world going head-to-head in F3 cars and around the best circuits in the world as well. So now we go on board. Felipe Drugovic just ahead of us. That is Mohamed Ibrahim, the championship leader. Felipe Drugovic finished 6th at round number 1. So really, he is trying to close the gap to Ibrahim in the championship. He can't do that in this race, but he can start ahead of Ibrahim in the feature race, and he's going to do that through 130R. Drugovic goes through, and that is second place. Yunkadea now the one to chase for Felipe Drugovic, Jack.
Yeah, good move from Drugovic through 130R. Not easy to go up the inside there. Ibrahim did well to keep it in there as well. But already, Drugovic has already gapped him on the exit of the Casio triangle. So Drugovic versus Yunkadea. This is going to be an interesting battle. See a couple of lap cars coming out. Fast lap of the race. Felipe Drugovic by 1/10 of a second over Danny Yunkadea. But it's only a 5-lap heat race, remember. So they don't have a lot of time. Azam has made it back to 10th place now, so he's well within a chance of making that feature race, but he's going to be kicking himself for making that small mistake. He could be out in the lead at the moment.
Yeah, it's Azam is doing just exactly what he needs to do. However, that's going to put... Oh, who's that? We've got a car off. Is that one of our lapped cars? I think that may be off. It's Emilian Denner. So Emilian Denner is just starting to get going again. He's going to grab the last place there in 12th at the moment. Emilian Denner is a champion in the KZ2 class in karting, actually really dominated that category last year, raced in the Toyota Racing Series at the start of this year as well. But this is Ramiz Azam, Jack. He is third in the championship at the moment, took a podium at round number 1. This is going to leave him down the order in the feature race, but luckily for him, he is still going at the moment and can try and close down the likes of Oliver Jarvis and Cameron Daz ahead.
Yeah, he's got 2 lapped cars in front of him before he can get to Oliver Jarvis and Cameron Das, who Das just overtook Jarvis not too long ago for that 8th place. Jonathan Hoggard up the road ahead in P7. Then it's Luke Bennett, Mateusz Kaprik and Kasper Stuka running very, very well in 4th place. Ibrahim Drugovic and Yunkadea, that is your top 10 at the moment. So a lot of the cars already out of this race already after lap 1 incident. But now we'll see if possibly Oliver Jarvis can try and make a move on Cameron Das, but I think he's a little bit too far back. Well, we've seen the move earlier from Drugovic on Ibrahim up the inside here, and we're seeing, Chris, how powerful this slipstream is.
Yeah, Cameron Daz, the 2016 USF4 champion, has Oliver Jarvis all over the back of him as they go into the chicane. And Oliver Jarvis not getting a good run through that. Actually, it looks as if he, I don't know if that was a penalty that he picked up there, Jack, but it almost looked as if he just slowed down just to give himself a little bit of room, or either that to serve a penalty, which would mean he's been breaching track limits in places around this Suzuka circuit. So I'd say, Jack, things are now starting to settle down a little bit. We can see, of course, Yunkadea is leading at the moment. There he is on screen for you in the predominantly black livery car. He's got a back marker ahead of him. In the dark red colours behind is Felipe Drugovich. Let's see if Drugovich is held up here as they come through the Degner curves. Drugovich may have been delayed slightly. He is the number 41 car in the middle of our picture as now we go into the hairpin. So Drugovich trying to chase down Juncadella behind this. Oh, and getting a little bit sideways out of the hairpin there. Is this Mohammed Ibrahim in our picture? It is. Nice colours on Mohammed Ibrahim's car. So he's doing very well. He had a calm head, didn't he, at the first round, Jack, did Mohammed Ibrahim, to go and take victory. And I'd say he's showing the same here. Doesn't quite have the pace of Juncadella, but seems to be getting the best result he can.
Yeah, just seen a move from Luke Bennett on Matthias Caprik around the outside of Spoon. Tricky move to make, nicely done from Luke Bennett right there. But yeah, to go back on Ibrahim, he's been very, very calm. But we came into the interview, by the way, and he was panting. He was panting like hell. Caprik back up the inside of 130R, battling it out here. Now can Bennett come back at him into the Casio triangle? He's firmly up the inside. Now with Caprik hanging around the outside, he does sticks his nose in, but Bennett gets it back again as we head on to the final lap. Don't forget Juncadella from Drugovich, and look at that, they're setting identical lap times out front, 3,000 separating them. But Ibrahim hanging back a little bit now. I think he's given up on the fact trying to chase those guys down, but Juncadella looking unbeatable out front, extremely quick.
Yeah, we've got a DTM driver versus an FIA F2 driver, and then Ibrahim, who raced in the F4 Southeast Asia Championship last year. So a big difference in experience between the likes of Drugovich, Juncadella and Ibrahim, but that doesn't seem to be showing, does it, in this race? So back we go to Danny Juncadella. Wasn't with us at the first round, I don't believe, but he is with us at this second round. With the top 10 scoring points, he's got a chance, if he can get a win today, he's got a chance to close the gap to our leaders in Ibrahim, Veroni and Azam very quickly, and particularly with Veroni and Azam and not having good races so far. That can open the door for Danny Juncadella. I'd say Drugovich will be happy to settle for second here, Jack. Likewise, Ibrahim in third. But so far, so good for Danny Juncadella. This is our first heat. If you have just joined us, we're going to have two more of these where you're going to see completely different drivers. The top 12 in all three races will go through to make a 36-car grid for the feature race. That is where we will fight out for points in this second round. So this is all just about finishing in the top 12, and I'd say it's so far so good for Juncadella, Drugovich and Ibrahim.
Yeah, just to point out, Azam is out in 15th. He's in the pit lane, so Azam's not going to make the feature race. So that's a big one for the championship. But coming through 130R, Danny Juncadella has had no issues whatsoever. Azam spun the car. He capitalised through the Casio triangle. Felipe Drugovich follows him very, very closely, but he's not quite close enough to displace Danny Juncadella, who comes across the line to win Heat Race 1. That is the pole position for the feature race. Felipe Drugovich in second, and Mohammed Ibrahim did well to hold on to third. Kasper Stuka with a fantastic result for fourth place. Matthias Caprik and Jonathan Hoggart are going to come through in fifth and sixth. So Luke Bennett has lost those two spots to him. Oliver Jarvis, Cameron Das and Sadalier round out your top 10, but a big one for Azam. I think Azam's made it back to 12th actually. He might make this, Chris.
Yeah, just about. It's all changing last minute, isn't it? This is Cameron Daz. He had a spin right at the end. And this is Ramez Azam. He is third in the championship. He has to be in the top 12 to go through. And he is currently in 12th place, so he is going to grab that last qualifying space, and he can take a very deep breath. He's going to be starting all the way back in 34th on the grid for the feature race, so he's going to have a very, very tough task ahead of him. If he's going to try and score points, he's going to have to make 24 positions just to get that 1 point, but he's given himself the opportunity. So Juncadella, Drugovich, Ibrahim, Stuka, Caprik, Hoggard, Bennett, Jarvis, Daz, Sadlier, Turney and Azam. Their night continues, sadly for Spinlo, Denner, Alcaraz, Yelali, Verone, who was second in the championship, Cohen, Dunner, Horston. They are all out, I'm afraid to say. That is the last we will see of them this evening. It is a very brutal format. If you don't finish in the required positions, then your evening is over. Of course, we have 3 more rounds in the series, though, and you are going to be the guys, the viewers, voting for which tracks we go to next. More on that in just a short while. But another driver who's just sneaking through, he had to do the consolation race. We're not going to be doing that this time, Jack, but Joe Turney doesn't seem to have the best of luck in the heats. A factory Tony Kart driver, and once again he's going to be starting all the way at the back for the feature race.
Yeah, I was involved in an incident at the second hairpin in the middle sector. You think he got collected by somebody, comes across the line, he makes the feature, and Ramaz Azam recovers, I think, from 2 crashes, still makes the feature race. So he's got there at least. But now, Chris, we head straight to heat race number 2, and we've got some even more talent lining up here.
Yeah, it's going to be a brilliant one. Look, we've got Oliver Rowland is going to be starting at the head of the field. This is the grid on screen for you. So Oliver Rowland, our Formula E driver on pole position. We heard from Sasha Venestraz. He is going to be starting alongside the Super Formula and Super GT driver. Then we come to Jack Crawford, Red Bull Junior, on row 2 with DTM driver Ed Jones. Sandy Mitchell is going to be on row number 3 with Martin Kodrich, 2 drivers who race at the highest level in GT racing. NM Ahmed, an FIA F3 driver, alongside another F3 driver, Raoul Hyman, who's raced in that series for the last 3 seasons. Oliver Bierman, definitely a one to watch. He gained a ton of positions, 21 positions in total. Didn't score any points at round 1, but he came very close. He came from 33rd all the way up to 12th place. So definitely one to watch is Bierman. Then we've got the likes of Eilert, Hawksworth, Nunes, Barnard, Cottrell, Gore, Barter, Futrell, Martin, Shida and Greenwood as well. And lights go out, Jack.
Here we go, Oliver Rowland with a brilliant start. Finestras straight to the inside as he tries to cover off the Jack Crawford on the inside. Ed Jones goes through the 3rd. Then it's Crawford, Mitchell, Kodrick, Eno Ahmed in P7. Then it's Hyman. Callum Eilert makes up a position to P9. Ollie Behrman goes through as well as they fight it out through. Great start from Rowland, though. He's got the job done already. Finestras tries to follow. Remember, he was the title contender in April isolation as well. So he's got the pace. Ed Jones in 3rd. He won a race last month as well. Jack Crawford came together with actually his teammate in the final round of the April isolation as well, so he's going to be wanting to make up some places as well, as there's been a few problems for cars further down the order, but all looking clean as far as up the inside. I think that was Martin Kodrich getting overtaken by Sandy Mitchell. Yeah, a good move from Sandy Mitchell. Enam Ahmed up the inside of that. Oh, spinner! Is that Enam Ahmed? Enam Ahmed's in the wall after making a move up the inside. Oh, he tried to get it up the inside of Ollie Behrman. I think that wasn't into the wall. Enam Ahmed is out.
Yeah, sadly, Enam Ahmed out the race there. So all going off on this first lap. Don't forget, the top 12 are the ones that will be going through at the end of this heat. That's what it's all about. And for the likes of Ahmed, Cottrell, Martin, Shida, sadly, they have no chance in trying to get through. But of course, Rowland, Finestraz, Jones, Crawford, Mitchell, Kodrich, Hyman, Bierman, Eilert, Nunes, Barter and Barnard, they are currently in those positions. But Greenwood, Hawksworth, Gore and Futrell will be trying to get into that top 12.
As we see the drivers going defensive. Oh, look at this. Jack Crawford trying to come around the outside of Ed Jones. I think Ed Jones is on his inside there. Let's see if he can stick it up the inside of the Casio triangle. Crawford's got that done. Lovely move. Goes deep. Gets through. Finestras tried it on Rowland up ahead as well, and he slots in behind. But that's a fantastic, brave move from Jack Crawford around the inside of 130R. Ed Jones is not going to have that, though. DTM driver onto the outside of the Red Bull Juniors to head towards turn number 1. In the background, you got Martin Kodrich fighting with Sandy Mitchell as well as they try to sort themselves out. Ollie Rowland, Jack Crawford, round the outside. Can he get this done? No, he can't. Crawford holds on, but the battle's really starting to heat up now between your top 2 and 3rd and 4th.
Yes, it is indeed fantastic racing. This the Isolation eRacing Series. This is round number 2 of the championship. We started at Watkins Glen last time. We're now at Suzuka, and some more brilliant tracks coming up to you. So I hope you're enjoying the action here live on BT Sport. We are in the heat races at the moment. This heat number 2. We've got another heat after this, and then we'll be into the main feature race.
As we watch now, Ed Jones now with Martin Kodrich behind them. Kodrich making the move on Sandy Mitchell into turn number 1. Finestras follows your leader Ollie Rowland. Only a 5-lap race, remember, so it's hard and fast as they try to sort themselves out. Kodrich later on the brakes. Mitchell almost into his diffuser there, and a better exit from Martin Kodrich may give him an opportunity into Spoon Curve.
Yeah, we're still watching the action here. Oliver Rowland still leading the way at the moment from Finestras, Crawford, Jones and Kodrich. They are your top 5.
No, Kodrich off. Kodrich off the road in Spoon Corner, hard in the wall. Kodrich is out. he tried it on the outside, it did not work, and he's come off the worst for it into the wall. Martin Cottridge will not make the feature race as we go back to your leaders as Ollie Rowland desperately trying to defend against Sasha Fenestres. He's got some serious pace as Fenestres. Has he got enough to get him on the inside of the Casio triangle? Has to go to the outside. Rowland defends the middle, coming through the Casio triangle down towards the first corner once again onto lap 3 of 5. Surely Fenestres has got an opportunity now on the back of Ollie Rowland into the slipstream. Rowland goes straight to the pit wall. Fenestres is going to have to go around the outside. Fastest lap of the race. Sasha Fenestres on the outside line of turn number 1. Here he comes. Is he going to get the job done on the outside line? We've seen him done before. There's a car on the inside. No! Fenestres makes contact into the wall. Fenestres is out of this race. Unbelievable. They make contact in turn 1. Ed Jones comes off better, and Sasha Fenestres is out of this race. Unbelievable. Here we go. Let's have a look again. Fenestres moves to the inside. I think that's Ian Ahmed who comes out of the pit lane. Fenestres has to go to the outside, and they just touch wheels and straight through into the wall. Sasha Fenestres, what a shame. And he's now out of this race, has no chance to make the feature race, and such a shame. But Ed Jones continues to circulate in the lead, and that was just so unlucky. Ian Ahmed was just in the wrong place at the wrong time, as was Ed Jones. Sorry, that wasn't Ed Jones, Ollie Rowland, excuse me. And Ollie Rowland continues to lead. We look at Ed Jones now chasing Jack Crawford, who is now second, and Ed Jones is third. But Chris, I mean, that was horrible for Sasha Fenestres. Just wrong place, wrong time.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, unfortunately, Sasha Fenestres getting caught out, and a real shame to see Fenestres now in the pits and out of the race. That is his evening done, but still 3 more rounds to go, so hopefully we'll see the French driver back throughout the season.
As we now look at Raoul Hyman, who's pressuring Sandy Mitchell for 4th place. You can see how much he's trying to defend there as well. You can see a couple of cars going at it in the background as well. Nearly 3 abreast in the background as now. Here comes Raoul Hyman, the FIA Formula 3 driver from South Africa. He's going to go to the inside of 130R. Up the inside, Sandy Mitchell tries his best to hang around the outside. He has hung around the outside, so Mitchell should have the inside line, but Hyman just outbreaks him there. And I think Callum Ilott has made it through to 6th place as well. Ollie Behrman trying to follow him through as well. There's a 3-car battle in the background. Ollie Behrman leading that train now, as you can see, for 7th, 8th and 9th. There is Ollie Behrman, and you've got Barter and all those guys involved as well, as now Behrman has to defend from Barter as they head to the outside line. And here we go. Is he going to be able to get it around the outside? Behrman's defending. Oh, they touch wheels coming through, and Behrman holds on for now just about young Carter, and see if he can do anything about that. But Behrman holds on for now as we are on lap 4 of 5. And Chris, it looks like there's going to be no problems for Ollie Rowland after everything he's been through. I think he's going to hold on for this one.
Yeah, he's driven superbly, hasn't he, Oliver Rowland? Don't forget, he's 5th in the championship at this present time. So Oliver Rowland, the 27-year-old Formula E driver, doing a fantastic job in this race, Jack. And that will be the first stage of his evening complete.
As we now continue on this lap 4 of 5, Ollie Behrman trying his best to defend from Barter, who is right behind him. Hugh Barter is trying his best to get past in this late stage. Callum Ilott just a little bit further up the road, the FIA Formula 2 driver. There he is, just ahead of Ollie Behrman, and he is chasing down the battle for 5th place as well. So Callum Ilott could really get himself in a good spot here in this top 5. Callum Ilott chasing Sandy Mitchell and Raoul Hyman, who were battling it out earlier. So there is Ilott, who started in 10th place, made it up to 6th place, and he's trying to get inside the top 4 now, which would be something special for Ilott in his first race in the series. So we get the graphics back on our screen right now as Callum Ilott, who is making his debut in the series, as we said, chases down Sandy Mitchell and Raoul Hyman. We're about to head on to the final lap. Ollie Rowland has held on so far. He's held off an attack from Sasha Fenestres. They make contact now. Sandy Mitchell going for a move on Raoul Hyman, not able to find the space right there as they come through the Casio triangle. And coming through onto the white flag lap, Ollie Rowland leads. Jack Crawford second as the fastest lap of the race goes to Ollie Rowland. As we come across the line, Sandy Mitchell trying his best to get past Raoul Hyman. They made the move earlier. Can Mitchell move to the outside? He finds some space on the inside, up the inside of turn 1, but Hyman just has about enough space coming through turn number 1 into turn 2. Through the Senna S's, named after Ayrton Senna, of course, coming through the Senna S's now. Mitchell following through. Mitchell has shown some good pace in this series, and he's mixing it up with the single-seater driver, Sandy Mitchell, a GT class driver, so this is not his forte normally, but he's doing an excellent job fighting with the FIA Formula 3 driver, Raoul Hyman, Ed Jones, DTM, Jack Crawford, the Red Bull Junior driver, and Ollie Rowland, of course, FIA Formula E, Callum Ilott right behind FIA Formula 2, but Oliver Rowland doing his best out in the lead at the moment. But he's pretty much out in the lead completely at the moment. He's had no issues whatsoever as we head to the last couple of corners and we head into Spoon Curve. Jack Crawford tried his best. He was close to Ollie Rowland, but coming towards Spoon Curve, Ed Jones in the background. Hyman's holding off Sandy Mitchell for now. Callum Ilott, Ollie Behrman, Hugh Barnard and Tristan Nunez in 10th place. We just look back at this battle with Sandy Mitchell trying to get past Raoul Hyman into 130. That's his last opportunity. Here we go in the slipstream. Can Sandy Mitchell gain a position? This is for a position in the feature race and a little spot further on the grid of the feature. Here we go. Is Sandy Mitchell close enough? Hyman defends the inside. Sandy's looking for the space. He found it on the inside of 130R on the last lap. I think Hyman's just done enough here to hang it on the outside. He has. Mitchell looks for the space. Not going to quite have it. Hyman holds off, but coming through to take the win in heat race number 2. Oliver Rowland wins heat race 2. Jack Crawford 2nd. Ed Jones 3rd. Raoul Hyman in 4th place and Sandy Mitchell 5th. And we will now take a quick break as we head to have a chat with Richard Verschoor.
Richard, thank you very much for joining us here on the programme today. Of course, race coming up ahead of us, the Suzuka circuit. First of all, how are you feeling about this track?
Yeah, of course, Suzuka is one of the best tracks out there. I mean, if you really get into the flow, then I think everybody loves Suzuka.
Last year, you became the first Dutch driver to ever win the Macau Grand Prix, one of the most prestigious races on the motorsport calendar each year. And it's a tough race. I mean, for you to jump into that circuit, it's a street circuit, which you're not used to doing in Formula 3, of course. It's tight and it's fast.
Yeah, I remember myself watching the 2 years before. So like 2017 to 18, and I watched all the guys, and then I was like, I have no idea how they can go so quick through those walls. And also when I did my first lap, I was like, no way I can be fast here. But then after 2 or 3 laps, then I loved it, and everything just goes by itself, it feels like.
Well, a huge congratulations on winning that. Do you think you'll be back there this year when the race goes ahead?
Yeah, let's see first if the race goes ahead. I have no idea yet. We'll see.
Well, fingers crossed we'll be back out on our real racetracks at some point soon. But for the moment, we get to enjoy the May Isolation Championship as well. How do you feel chances are to come in the top 3 for the entire series? We've got some pretty impressive drivers competing.
Yeah, I made a little mistake in the first round. So I was going for P1 in the heat, but then I went off, unfortunately. So and then I crashed in the final. So I was actually really quick, and I didn't practice at all. So it was a bit of a stupid move, let's say. But you know, it's a lot of fun, and it's good to drive with all those guys, and also some Formula 1 drivers are joining sometimes. So that's just mega.
It is pretty mega, isn't it? Well, hopefully you'll have a cleaner race tonight. And we'll see you through to the final. That would be great.
Thank you.
And we are back for heat race number 3 with Richard Verschoor, who we just spoke with, battling away with Liam Lawson, Jake Dalton in 3rd place. But a good start from Richard Verschoor. Lawson briefly got him into turn 1, but Lawson falls to 2nd. Jake Dalton, Josh Mellors, a spinner in the background. That's Liam Lawson around at the top of the hill where we saw Azam spin it. That's the 2nd time collected by another car involved as well. And another car spinning as well. That's James Pull in the gravel in the background as well. That's the same corner that we saw Ramiz Azam spin. Liam Lawson losing it by himself. And that's the 2nd victim, but now Jake Dalton moves to 2nd, and now in the background, Maitland spin, and that's a spinner again. That is Jake Dalton with the rear wheel missing off the car. Jake Dalton is now out of this one as well. No, he's got it going again. So that's an unfortunate one. Jake Dalton collected in the rear by Maitland, we think, and now that puts Phil Dennis into 3rd place. And we saw have a great battle as well. He's got Davison right on his tail as well. The head into Spoon Curve, not quite able to get up the inside Davison, but now Dennis goes wide. Davison now falls behind, and now Stevens into 5th place. Conroy, Jake Conroy, Alfred Nilsson, Yves Baltas, Harry Tinknell and Ben Barnacle are your top 10, and in of course the feature race spots, the top 12 get through. It's Cian Donaldson and Adam Christodoulou in the top 12, but Richard Verschoor is your leader. Malin, Dennis, Davison And Stevens right behind Davison, heading into the Casio triangle. Jaden Conroy under pressure from Alfred Nilsson into the Casio triangle. Nilsson around the outside, late on the brakes, goes too deep, locks it up, and has to settle for 7. Now he's going to get under pressure from Yves Baltas in P8. Alfred Nilsson, of course, GT4 European Series driver. Now under pressure from Yves Baltas. And that looks like a drive-through penalty possibly for Will Stevens in P13 as the guys battle it out here. Harry Tinknell having to fight off a couple of cars there. Ben Barnicott, Cian Donaldson now in there as well. Jake Dalton moves back to 12th. And all looking good so far. But Chris, for sure, in a good spot right now. Way out in the lead at the moment.
Yeah, for sure, doing fantastic. As you said, we just hear from him in the break there. Was fantastic to have a word with Richard Verschoor, Macau GP champion as well, is Richard Verschoor being the first Dutch driver to get that, former Spanish F4 champion. So he knows what he's doing, the 19-year-old, and that is being proven at the moment, Jack.
Yep, now we look at Ben Barnicott, who's trying to get past Harry Tinknell and Yves Baltas right here. And Verschoor now under pressure from Malin as they come through into the hairpin. So Verschoor's made a mistake somewhere, as now here comes Josh Malin up the inside. Verschoor has to fight it off, but Malin, I think, has got the inside line for the Spoon curve. Verschoor's trying to squeeze him. They go side by side towards Spoon. Watch out for Phil Dennis in the background as well as they come through, almost banging wheels. Verschoor's going to try and go around the outside of Spoon curve. Oh no! Verschoor off the road at Spoon curve. He keeps it out of the wall. He's got to get the car restarted again, but there was contact. We've seen it already earlier today. Verschoor trying his best to get the car restarted. He's got to try and get it out of the gravel trap, but oh no, Richard Verschoor, what a shame. Let's have a look at this again. He goes side by side here with Malin as they head through. Josh Malin on the inside line. Verschoor, oh, just the slightest of touches right there, and off the road into the gravel trap goes Richard Verschoor. And he gets back going again, but what a shame. And now, oh, there was a problem as well. Josh Malin now had to fight off Phil Dennis for the lead of Heat Race 3. This is only the Heat Races, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a problem. Slow down penalty for Phil Dennis as he cut the chicane. The in-game stewarding system strikes and Phil Dennis has to slow down, which gives second place to Davison. I think that is in second place. That'll be James Davison and Jaden Conroy in third place now as a result of that slowdown penalty. So all that, Josh Malin comes out in the lead, and it's now Davison in second, James Davison, Jaden Conroy, Phil Dennis, Alfred Nilsson, Harry Tinknell, Yves Baltas, Ben Barnicott, Adam Christodoulou, Will Stevens, Cian Donaldson and Jake Dalton are your top 12 who will go through, progress to the feature race, which we'll head to, of course, very, very shortly. And now we head through the Degners 1 and 2. Can James Davison do anything about this now? Catching up to Josh Malin, who was pressuring our leader, Richard Verschoor. And we come through the top hairpin, lap 3 of 5, as now we look back at, that'll be Phil Dennis, now trying to get past Jaden Conroy for third place. Alfred Nilsson catching this one as well in the background. So let's see if Phil Dennis, he's one of the quicker drivers on the track at the moment, the American Indy Pro 2000 driver, now trying to make his way past for third place Jaden Conroy as they progress through Spoon Curve for the third time. A little bit wide from Conroy that time. Surely Dennis has got an opportunity now, heading towards 130R. He's already alongside as we head towards 130R. He's surely going to be able to get it around the inside line. Jaden Conroy doing his best to hang around the outside. It's always tricky to do it around 130R. Phil Dennis has got the job done, but now he'll have a cutback line with Jaden Conroy back to the inside immediately, but tucked back in behind Phil Dennis. And I think, Chris, the best thing that Phil Dennis can do right now is just try and do his best to catch up to James Davison. I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to Josh Malin, who's way out in front at the moment, but a good move from Phil Dennis, who's a little bit unlucky, I think, earlier.
Yeah, Phil Dennis, a shame for him, isn't it? 21-year-old from Los Angeles. Phil Dennis won the Rick Protect Pro to Indy iRacing series, actually, beating Eduardo Barrichello. So we'll have to see what he can do and see if he can catch back up again, Dennis. But we're getting towards the end of this heat. Once again, the top 12 from this are going to go through, and then that will be our grid complete for the feature race.
We look at Adam. Yeah, indeed. So we head to the 9 lap as well at the feature race, as you just mentioned there. So good stuff as they progress through. There's no consolation race today, so you make it through or you don't make it through. You don't have a second chance, and they're now fighting for the top 12 positions, which I think Liam Lawson has made it back to 11th place. So Ramez Azam in the same place spun earlier, but Liam Lawson's made it back to 11th as well, as has James Pull, who was also in the gravel trap next to Liam Lawson. So he's back to 12th place now. James Pull, GT Blancpain driver, now progressing through turn number 1. There he is. Will Stevens in 13th place, and Richard Verschoor looks like he's not going to make the feature race, which is a massive one, and he's right up there in the championship. But Verschoor has got his work cut out. I don't think he's going to quite make the feature. As we head through on lap 4 of 5, Josh Malin leads, James Davison in 2nd place, Phil Dennis is 3rd, Jaden Conright now under pressure from the Swedish driver Alfred Nilsson, who's going to have a think about round the outside of 130R. Is he going to be able to pull it off? Round the outside, he's just sticking his nose in there now towards the Casio triangle. He's going to have a pop on the inside. Conright defends. Nilsson to the outside line, trying to hang around the outside. He tried this earlier, and there's a problem for Josh Malin. Josh Malin spins in the last corner. James Davison leads in Heat Race 3, and Malin with a mistake heading on to the final lap. Let's have a quick look and see if we can see what happened. Here we go. He's coming towards the Casio triangle. He looks like he drops it by himself onto the entry, gets it turned in nicely. I think, is he just going to lose it on the power? Yeah, just on the power, loses it, keeps it out of the gravel trap. But James Davison now leads, Phil Dennis in 2nd place, and that puts Jaden Conright to 3rd, who's battling away with Alfred Nilsson, and Nilsson's got him. Nilsson's into 3rd place. We look back now to Josh Malin, who's now trying to get past Ben Barnacle for 6th place in this race. Harry Tinknell now into 5th. He's done a very good job as Harry Tinknell. Adam Christodoulou, Jake Dalton, Cian Donaldson, Liam Lawson and James Pull are still your top 12. But now James Davison, unlikely to be leading this race, but he's out in front. Phil Dennis in 2nd place, not quite close enough to challenge James Davison. And Alfred Nilsson now on the podium, would you believe, as they come through the second hairpin. Heat race number 3 about to end. We will then head to a 6-minute warm-up, and where we will have a quick chat about driver coaching within the simulator with Gemma, as we'll head to that very, very shortly. And coming through the last couple of corners now, James Davison heading through Spoon Curve for the last time. Phil Dead is not totally out of this yet. He's within the slipstream range, but it's not going to be enough, I think, for Dennis to be able to make any sort of move heading through 130R for the last time of asking in heat race number 3. Phil Dennis 2nd in the background, but I don't think James Davison has Phil Dennis done enough heading into the Casio Triangle for the final time. Davison unlikely to have won this race, but he's held on. He's kept his nose clean. James Davison wins heat race number 3, followed closely by Phil Dennis in 2nd place. Alfred Nilsson will cross the line to take 3rd place ahead of Jaden Conright, Harry Tinknell, Ben Barnacle, Josh Malin, who dropped it on the exit on the last lap right there, Adam Christodoulou, Jake Dalton, who we saw in the gravel trap. And then we have Cian Donaldson, the Mazda MX-5 driver in P10. Liam Lawson is going to recover and make the feature after spinning at the top of the hill. He's going to come across the line. There he is. We're just waiting for him to come through 130R now. We'll be following closely by James Pull, who's going to secure the very last feature race slot. Here we go. Liam Lawson, who's fighting for the lead with Richard Verschoor. They both had disasters. Richard Verschoor in the wall, don't forget. And James Pull will cross the line for P12. So Liam Lawson makes the feature, and James Pull, we're going to wait to cross the line. There he is, the Blancpain GT driver, crossed the line for P12. Will Stevens will round it out in 13th place after his drive-through penalty. And Richard Verschoor, what could have been for Richard Verschoor, battling with Josh Malin for the lead. We're just waiting for him to come through Spoon Curve now. And Richard Verschoor leading this race, the early part of this race. And he has held on, unfortunately, to secure 14th place. And coming through 130R now, the FIA Formula 3 driver from the Netherlands. He's had a torrid time today. Contact with Josh Malin, and into the wall he went. Nothing he could have done. Richard Verschoor crossed the line for 14th. He will not make the feature race. And what a shame that is for the FIA Formula 3 driver. But James Davison, Phil Dennis, Alfred Nilsson, Jaden Conright, Harry Tinknell, and the like will make the feature race. We are now going to cross over to Gemma Scott once again, who's going to have a very interesting feature about driver coaching in simulators.
So, Andy and Matt, AW Performance, thanks for joining us. You guys are responsible for keeping these boys behind the wheel fit, strong, and ready to race. How do you go about training racing drivers, and how different is it to training other athletes?
With the racing drivers, it's really unique because if you take a rugby player, you have forwards and backs, and you are given a scope of size and shape and weight that they can be. With racing drivers, some are 6 foot, some are 3 foot, and they all have to fit in the same hole and do the same job. So you have to be much more flexible with drivers, and I think you have to stagger the training a lot more with these guys to work on things like strength to start with, and make sure that a 60-kilo guy is strong enough to haul one of these 1,000 horsepower cars around a track.
Nutrition comes into it in quite a big way, and we need to make sure that you're doing everything on a healthy way, rather than just we've got to hit this weight and we'll do whatever we can to get there. There are drivers that have done that in the past and they've become ill because of it. So everything we do is in a healthy way, and you're trying to reduce their body fat percentage, but not so much that it's a detriment to their health and their immune system and how they're able to concentrate on a weekend. So nutrition plays a huge part in that.
Travel element as well with motorsport is that, you know, especially this year more than ever, is the races are going to be jam-packed together. So it's race weekend, fly home, one day at home, back at an airport, back at a racetrack. And it's trying to create the habits that it becomes second nature, that they're going to choose the healthy option and not get tempted by the things they know they shouldn't.
You talk there about the travel, and that's an interesting point because you can't necessarily be by their side the whole time. How much do you how often are you traveling to the events with the drivers?
Again, that varies from driver to driver. I've had drivers in the past where I will literally spend probably 90% of the year doing their training and traveling with them. And then the other 10% is down to trust. But again, if you're confident that you can build up those good habits and the understanding and the education in your time with them, it's pretty easy to trust them. And also, they know that they're going to get found out pretty quickly if they've been chomping on a few Mars bars, because we weigh them regularly, we do their body fat regularly. They don't get much leeway, we're on top of that. So, but there are other guys that we don't see regularly. There are guys, especially now, that we just do remotely. So there's a lot more trust involved, I guess, now.
It's interesting to notice how much the drivers' styles have changed due to technology and due to lifestyle over the years. You know, you look back at, I remember talking to Sterling Moss a few years back and saying, you know, how they used to get out the car, go for a few drinks, go and party in a nightclub, smoke a stack of cigarettes and get back in a car the next day. And that was the normal for them. Nowadays, the drivers have got far more demands on them because of the technology and the speeds that they're reaching, but also lifestyle and expectation has changed so much, hasn't it?
Yeah, even when I started in 2003, you had some fit guys around, you know, the likes of David Coulthard and Kimi Räikkönen and things like that. And they were fit guys, but it was only kind of at that level that, you know, they were reaching those levels of performance in the gym and so on. The lower levels, it wasn't really looked at. You know, you were just fast or you weren't. And I remember talking to a Red Bull Junior about 2006, and his training consisted of just going out on the bike. He never went in the gym. Wow. And he stepped into an F1 car for a test, and he really struggled. And it starts to highlight the effectiveness of all the training that we do. And now kids in karts that are now starting to take their training that seriously.
I guess the fitness training also links into some of the mentality training as well, because the sharper you are physically, the sharper your mind is.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know that if you're racing and in the last 5 laps of a race, physically you're strong enough to hold onto the car and you're not having to think about, oh, my arms are tired, my shoulders are tired, my neck's struggling. If you're not thinking about those things, then you're just thinking about the guy in front of you or the guy behind you and racing. Hitting the braking points, hitting the apex, and being able to maximize the performance of the car on track. You're not worried about how your body is feeling and whether it's going to get you to the end of the race. You know, there are drivers out there that don't necessarily train as much as they should, and it's known within the paddock. And other drivers will say, if I'm behind him with 5 laps to go, I know he's going to be tired. I know I can have a go at him, because he won't be able to hang on to the car in that particular corner, and he'll be out of position. So it does play a massive role, and drivers really use it to help their mentality and to push the limit.
Well, you guys do a great job. Thank you so much for joining us. It's great to have a different side of how the drivers are working and how they're reaching that peak performance as well. So it's very interesting. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us. Pleasure.
Thank you very much, Gemma. Once again, you join us in the Isolation eRacing series from Suzuka. If you are new, thank you for joining us on BT Sport. If you would like to get involved, we need your help in choosing the track for next week. So if you are watching, make sure to tweet at BT Sport with the hashtag Isolation eRacing with your choice of circuit for next week. The choices are Barcelona, Daytona, Interlagos, or Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, which of course is the Canadian Grand Prix circuit in Canada. So tweet at BT Sport, hashtag Isolation eRacing, Barcelona, Daytona, Interlagos, or Montreal. You are in control for all of you at home. So thank you for joining us. We're about to head into the feature race here in Suzuka. Danny Juncadella will start on pole position for this one. Ollie Rowland in second, then James Davison, the unlikely winner of Heat Race 3, will start third. Felipe Drugovich, Jack Crawford, Phil Dennis, Mohamed Ibrahim, the championship leader, starts 7th. Ed Jones, Alfred Nilsson, and the young Carter, Kasper Stuka, starting in 10th place. We've got a hell of a race lining up for you. Unfortunately, Chris McCarthy having some technical issues at the moment. So my name is Jack Canada. I'll be guiding you through the action for the feature race today. And we hope that you're all sitting comfortably at home. Hopefully you're all safe and well as we're about to head into the final feature race. The final race of the night. Here we go, the feature race from Suzuka. It is lights out, and away we go. A good start from Juncadella, and a good start from James Davison, and a good start from Felipe Drugovich. Is a terrible one for Ollie Rowland, as the squeeze from James Davison straight across the nose of Felipe Drugovich, who takes 3rd place. Jack Crawford round the outside of Ollie Rowland as well. Rowland is the reason. Oh, the spinner! James Davison loses it on the exit of turn number 2, and around he goes. Oh, there's multiple cars involved. They all file through turn number 2. James Pull is off the road as well. There's multiple cars in that one. What a shame for James Davison, dropping it on the exit of turn number 1. And that has led Daniel Cadale leads, Drugovich 2nd, Rowland 3rd, Crawford 4th, Kasper Stuka comes to 5th place, Mohamed Ibrahim 6th, Callum Ilott into 7th, Ben Barnacle is 8th, Adam Christodoulou, then Phil Dennis and Sadalairs. They all file through the Degners number 1 and 2, Juncadella and Drugovich, Ollie Rowland back to 3rd, Crawford and Kasper Stuka up 5 places from where he started, but he's got the championship leader, Mohamed Ibrahim in 6th place, Callum Ilott, the FIA Formula 2 driver, is 7th, Ben Barnacle, Phil Dennis and Sadalairs, Joe Turney into 11th, Ollie Behrman, Tristan Nunez, Martin Kodrich, Garcia, Gore, Spindlow, Das, Tarhan, Epps, Tinknell, Ed Jones, Liam Lawson and Max Futrell round out your top 25. And now Juncadella has got the gap already. It's his first race in the series. A very experienced DTM driver, and he's out in the lead in this race on the iRacing platform, the most advanced simulator on the market today. Felipe Drugovich, the reigning champion, don't forget, as he now has got a train of cars behind him. He's got Oliver Rowland, who's trying on the outside. Drugovich defends. He's also going to watch out for Jack Crawford, the young Red Bull Junior, who's in 4th place. Mohamed Ibrahim has passed Kasper Stuka, as here comes Ollie Rowland up the inside of Drugovich into the Casio Triangle, makes it stick. Good move from Oliver Rowland, the FIA Formula E driver, coming through the Casio Triangle for the first time. It's Danny Juncadella from Ollie Rowland. Felipe Drugovich now, he's got a second bite of the cherry down towards turn 1. Look at them all in the line heading towards turn number 1 as they go to the outside. Jack Crawford's going to have a go now on the outside line as they head towards turn 1. Oliver Rowland defending from Drugovich as well as they head through turn 1 for the second time of asking. Rowland holds on. Drugovich back to 3rd. Crawford falls behind. Ibrahim in 5th now, ahead of Stuka. Ilott in 7th. Dennis, Sadler and Joe Turney has made it through to 10th place as Ben Barnacle has had an issue and he drops down to 21st place. He was right up there, was Ben Barnacle. As now we head through, we look back at Spindlow fighting with Gore for 14th place in this field. The number 60 car versus number 14 car. Harry Tinknell is in the background there as well. Just for the road is Martin Kodrich and Garcia. And we now go back to Felipe Drugovich, the FIA Formula 2 driver for MP Motorsport. Unfortunately didn't get out on track this year, but hopefully we should be back very shortly, and he's very much looking forward to getting back in the car. The young Brazilian who we spoke to last week, and doing an excellent job. The reigning champion from the April Isolation Series. This is a continuation of that series in May, as keeping the drivers occupied in their time at home. As Jack Crawford now fighting with him. This has been the pinnacle of the series, has been all these drivers from karting, from FIA Formula 3, from Formula 2, from GT, fighting it out in the same car, on the same piece of track, all on a fixed setup. So they're all, nobody can make excuses for, oh, my car was slower, oh, my car was quicker. They're all the exact same. As now Felipe Drugovich under pressure from Jack Crawford. Mohamed Ibrahim lurking there in the background from number 33 car. We heard from him last week in the interviews, very, very happy. Here comes Drugovich. He saw what Roland did to last lap, and now up the inside, he's got it done. Lovely move from Felipe Drugovich on Ollie Roland. This is going to be the story of the day, but this is all allowing Danny Unkadea to get further out in the lead of this 9-lap feature race. But now Drugovich has to go defensive. Ollie Roland in his slipstream. Jack Crawford's in there too. As a couple of cars exit the pit lane, we saw what happened earlier when this happened. 3 abreast towards turn 1. Roland round the outside. Can he make it stick? Watch for Jack Crawford's going to nip up the inside. Maybe no. Drugovich holds on for now. Roland fighting away. This is Formula E versus Formula 2. How better can you get right here? Unbelievable stuff from the two as they file through the top of the hill for the 3rd time. Jack Crawford hanging there, but this is all allowing your championship leader Mohamed Ibrahim. He's closing in the number 33 car. Kasper Stuka is right there too. Cannot discount him. Ibrahim, the championship leader and the championship contender from last season, against Azam and against Drugovich, who's ahead of him a little ways up the road. Azam, of course, not had a good day, as now all the way down, further down the field after his spin in the first heat race. It's a young Jack Crawford here in the number 52 car, chasing after Oliver Roland, chasing after Felipe Drugovich. And gotta watch out for his karting compatriot Kasper Stuka, the 14-year-old from Poland, right behind him. As Mohamed is now firmly in the train here, as they fight it out for 2nd place. Drugovich has got enough of a gap, I think, to fend off Roland, but the slipstream so effective round here in Suzuka. Towards 130R for the 3rd time. Danny Unkadea has got a gap of about 1.2 seconds over Drugovich now. And here comes Ollie Roland. Is he going to have... We saw this 3 times in a row, but he's not quite close enough this time, I don't think, to get past the number 41 car. Number 122 follows through the number 52 of Jack Crawford in there too. As they file through to start lap 4 of 9. It's still Unkadea, Drugovich, Roland, Crawford and Ibrahim are your top 5 championship points. Of course, all crucial in this one. And all looking good so far for Unkadea in his first race of the championship. Further down, you've got Callum Ilott, Cameron Dass, and Phil Dennis in the 7th, 8th, and 9th positions. As now we look at Callum Ilott fighting with Phil Dennis. So this is FIA Formula 2 versus Indy Pro 2000 over the States. Alfred Nilsson just following behind the Swede in the GT4 European Series. So there's plenty of different forms of motorsport right here. As Phil Dennis now, of course, we saw him fighting for the lead in heat race number 3, and now he's fighting with Callum Ilott, who's also in his first race in the series as well. It's great to see Callum fighting it out here on track in the Formula 3 car. And Phil Dennis is all the way over in the States at the moment. Ilott under pressure now from Dennis. A little bit wide from Ilott that time, up towards the hairpin. Here comes Dennis on the outside line. Is he going to outbrake Ilott into the hairpin? He should have him, and he does. Good move from Phil Dennis on Callum Ilott. That's how quickly it can change. A little mistake from Ilott sends Dennis out wide, and now can Ilott come back to him towards Spoon Corner. A little bit of damage on the right hand side, it looks like, for Ilott on the front wing. You just see it a little bit bent there on Callum Ilott's car towards Spoon Curve. I think there could be an opportunity here, possibly for Ilott into 130R if he's able to keep up with Phil Dennis, but Dennis doing enough of a job right now to hold in position. Dennis behind. And now we go through to the start of lap number 5. Ibrahim now on the back of Crawford. It's all looking good for Ibrahim. He's in the championship lead. He's still in the top 5 here, and all looking good. And we continue on our way on this feature race. And Chris, have we got you back?
Yes. I thought I'd just nip off for a while. Look, we're going over here. Okay, yes, we're on board with Ibrahim at the moment, going in towards the first couple of corners. So a great little race this has been, isn't it? It's been great to have Suzuka on the calendar for this second round, and you of course can vote for the next track, and a nice little choice for it as well. Barcelona, Daytona, Interlagos, Montreal. Head to go on Twitter, go at BT Sport. You can vote for the next track there. Voting will close on Thursday. So Mohammed Ibrahim, we are just looking at him now coming into the Degner curbs, doing a good job so far. He's the championship leader here, Jack.
Yeah, done a great job to just keeping himself honest right here, closing into Jack Crawford, and the battle up front, which is between Ollie Rowland, Felipe Drugovich and Danny Juncadella. Juncadella's just got enough of a gap to hold on. Drugovich slowly closing in on him though now, so there could be an opportunity for the champion from last season, but Ibrahim is doing enough right now to just preserve his championship lead. Yeah,
doing a fantastic job here is Ibrahim. You know, he showed a great consistency for someone who hasn't done a ton of racing. He raced in the F4 Southeast Asia series in 2019, represented India as well in the Rotax Max Challenge Grand Finals, essentially the World Cup of karting. Did a great job doing that, but he's really been able to show his talents here as he comes through 130R now. So we're getting into the second half of this.
Oh, he's gone for it.
Yep, down the inside of Jack Crawford he goes, and move complete. So there we go. Great move from Mohammed Ibrahim, tying that one to perfection. So now what's Jack Crawford going to do, Jack? Is he going to work with Ibrahim here, or is he going to come straight back at him?
Absolutely not. He's going to work, and he's definitely not going to work on him. He's coming back to the outside line of the number 52 car, Jack Crawford, to the outside line of Ibrahim. I think Ibrahim should have enough to hold on here as Crawford tries his best to sweep around the outside, but now I think Crawford's best option is definitely to follow him. He had an opportunity to come past him, but I think Ibrahim's definitely got the pace now to try and close up to your top three, and it'd be a great result for him to get on the podium, but he's got to get past Ollie Rowland to do that.
Yeah, Oliver Rowland's not going to be an easy driver to pass, is he? He did very well at the opening round as well with a top 5 finish. So another driver showing huge consistency as well. Likewise, Felipe Drugovich, he's on to take another good score of points after his 6th place at the opening round. And here is the Brazilian we are looking at, the FIA F2 driver trying to chase down Danny Juncadella at the moment. Danny Juncadella has won a ton of championships in single-seater racing in the GT World Challenge as well. You can see to the bottom left of your picture. So this is Danny Juncadella in the predominantly black liveried car. Behind in the red car, that is Felipe Drugovich, the Brazilian. Then we have Oliver Rowland in 3rd place. But this, our leader, Jack, what can you say about Danny Juncadella? Absolutely fantastic. He's got a lot of experience, Danny Juncadella, and that is certainly showing, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's led every single lap of every race he's been in today. I think that shows his experience for sure. And Drugovich, though, is closing in on him with 3 laps to go. I think there could be a really interesting battle here between the current Formula 2 driver and Danny Juncadella, so experienced. Ollie Rowland, I think, is just going to hang back and hope that these guys have a little incident.
Yeah, that's all Oliver Rowland can do. But look, putting points on the board. Oliver Rowland will know that. He's been at the forefront in pretty much every championship he's ever raced in. And Oliver Rowland, one thing he'll know is if you keep putting points on the board, by the time you get to the end of the season, you're going to have a chance. And for the next 3 weeks at the very same time, right here on BT Sport, Mondays at 6 p.m, we will be bringing you the whole entire Isolation eRacing series. We're only at round 2. We still have 3 more to go after this. So there is a long way to go in this series. Danny Juncadella, though, Jack, he's put his name firmly in the title race with this performance, as long as he can stay where he is. I don't want to say that too early, do I? Drugovich in 2nd, Rowland is 3rd, Ibrahim 4th, Crawford 5th, Stuka. What a brilliant performance from him as well. 9th last time. He's up in 6th at the moment. Phil Dennis, he's doing well. He finished outside the top 30 at the first round. He's in 7th place at the moment. Then it's Sadleir in 8th. Martin Kodric, who ran into problems at the first round. He's in 9th place. There you can see Hugo de Sadleir. And in 10th place, Joe Turney. He's not done too badly, is he?
No, he climbed up the field quite nicely there, Joe Turney, being followed closely by Ollie Behrman as well. So the 2 identically liveried cars, the Club Swan cars, now following each other very nicely. So Turney now dragging the 2, of course, very experienced karters working with each other in a Formula 3 race. You don't get that too often.
No, no, not at all. These 2 guys know each other very well. They both used to race for the same team, Chaos Sport. Actually, Ollie Behrman still races with them. Joe Turney has since gone on to become a factory Tony kart driver, which is as good as racing for Ferrari in karting. But Ollie Behrman, he's come up to run in 11th at the moment. He's won. Oh, and has there been an incident there? We're looking at now at Jack Crawford, I think, here in 6th place. He's trying to chase down for a top 5 finish. What's happened here, Jack?
It looks like it was a spin into the spoon curve for Jack Crawford, because I just saw Kasper Stuka nip through into 5th place. Kasper Stuka is going to get a top 5, yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Stuka's into 5th, and Crawford now drops back to 6th place. He's still not too far off the top, but that's gonna knock his confidence a little bit there. So Crawford to 6th. But we're talking about how well Kasper Stuka's been driving. He's now to 5th, and we think he's the youngest driver on the grid at the age of 14. So it's really impressive from the young Carter.
Yeah, and this is a good little battle going on, isn't it? This is Liam Lawson in the battle. Oh, no, and that is that Spinlow. Maybe that might have been that has gone round. Yes, it is. Freddie Spinlow caught up in an incident. Oh, wow. Liam Lawson made a good job of that, didn't he? Head on into the barrier between the entrance to the pit lane and the start-finish straight. Well, that was an impressive crash, but Liam Lawson, that's going to be his race over.
Wow, I did not expect that from Liam Lawson into the pit barrier. And there was definitely contact between Freddie Spinlow, and that was Callum Ilott he collected as well. So Callum Ilott has had a pretty terrible run of it as well. Looks like he was carrying damage already, but that's really hampered his chances now. We just continue to look at Ollie Behrman, and just ahead of him Joe Turney as they work their way up through the field. Currently, it is still Junkadea who leads this race. Drugovic second. So we now look at Junkadea. Drugovic has dropped back a little bit, actually. So Junkadea is controlling this very, very nicely. Roland third. Ibrahim now into 4th. And Kasper Stuka rounds out your top 5. Jack Crawford, Phil Dennis, Hugo de Sadalier, Martin Kodrich, and Joe Turney are your top 10. And the big story of the day, of course, is that there is no sign of Richard Verschoor or Ramez Azam.
Yeah, 2 big names, unfortunately, out of the race, particularly for Ramez Azam when it comes to the championship. Likewise, Nico Verone as well. He is not anywhere near the points at the moment after getting off to a terrible start in that first heat. So this is, of course, the feature race. This is where the points are going to be scored. The point system, exactly the same as it works in F1. So 25 points to the winner, 18 to second, 15 to third, and then we work down from there with 1 point going to 10th place, which is currently going to be Joe Turney, but he's being chased down by former teammate Ollie Behrman. And there we can see, actually, this battle's starting to heat up now, isn't it? Joe Turney looking at the number 87. That is Ollie Behrman behind. Nick Yellerly is closing in this as well. So Nick Yellerly is going to be trying to get involved. So this could be a really good battle to watch going on to the last lap, Jack.
Yeah, who said teammates work together? Here we go for the top 10. Joe Turney versus Ollie Behrman in Formula 3. Here comes Behrman around the outside. He thought about it, but nicely covered from Joe Turney. We're on the final lap in this feature race in round 2 of the Isolation eRacing Series live on BT Sport. We now watch 2 Carters going at it. Joe Turney versus Ollie Behrman and Nick Yellerly just hanging in there in the background. But the 2 teammates... Now, there's a lapped car behind them, actually. That's not Nick Yellerly. Yellerly's further back, we think. That is just a lapped car that they've just managed to get through, and that could have been the catalyst for allowing Behrman to close up to Joe Turney so quickly. As we're on the last lap, who's going to come out on top here? But we're pretty sure who's going to come out in the lead of this one, out in the lead of the race totally. We know is Danny Junkadea, and I don't think he's going to be displaced by Felipe Drugovic. As we head towards the last couple of corners, continue to watch the battle, but we go back, Chris, to Danny Junkadea, who has been in the form of his life. I have not seen a dominant drive like this in a long time.
Yeah, Danny Junkadea, the 29-year-old from Barcelona. Well, he's won titles in FIA European F3, Masters of F3, F3 Euro Series, and the Mikel GP, which, guess what, is an F3 car. So he knows how to drive these things, and he's proved that this evening. Danny Junkadea entering this season in round number 2, and he's going to start it with a bang. He's going to start it with 25 points. He takes the feature race win here at Suzuka for round number 2 of the Isolation eRacing Series. Behind him, finishing second place, more points on the board for Felipe Drugovic, and a podium this time for Oliver Rowland. 2 finishes inside the top 5. Oliver Rowland is going to be right up there. Oh, this is a good battle going on. Oliver Behrman running a little bit wide at the Casio Triangle. Behind, that's Joe Turney. It could be a drag race to the line. Who's going to make it there first? It's just going to be Ollie Behrman who gets there first. What a fantastic race. Let's run through the rest of the top 10. Stuka, Crawford, Ibrahim, Dennis, Sadalier, Kodrich, and then that final point, Jack, going to Ollie Behrman.
Yeah, lovely move from Ollie Behrman, just down the inside, went for it, and just managed to run Joe Turney out of room right there. So the young Englishman gets one over on the factory Tony Kart driver. He'll be well happy with that one, I think. Ollie Behrman gets in the top 10, but Danny Juncadella, in his first race in the series, wins the feature race. He's led every single lap. Drugovic in second, and Mohamed Ibrahim, I think he dropped a place to Jack Crawford. I think Ibrahim made a mistake, which promoted Crawford to fifth. So not a perfect run from Ibrahim, but Ibrahim still gains points. But Drugovic will certainly have gained on him.
Yeah, Drugovic will definitely have gained a few points on him there. So great stuff from Felipe Drugovic. Nevertheless, you say Mohamed Ibrahim not the best of finishes to the race, but if you can make a mistake or two in a race and still come away with a sixth-place finish, Jack, that's not a bad day in the office at all.
Yeah, for sure. So we say that Ibrahim didn't have a great day. He still managed. He's a young karter who's managed to get in with the likes of Juncadella, Drugovic, Roland. So he's done an excellent job. But Kasper Stuck, I think, is a standout performance. They top 4 for the 14-year-old from Poland. Jack Crawford 5th and Ibrahim in 6th. So here are your official feature results. By a second, Danny Juncadella wins his first race in the series. Felipe Drugovic in 2nd, Oliver Rowland 3rd, Kasper Stuka in 4th, Jack Crawford, Mohamed Ibrahim, Phil Dennis, Hugo de Sadeleer, Martin Kodrich, and with a last-ditch move and a gap of 0.06 of a second, Ollie Behrman manages to beat Joe Turney to the line. Nick Yellowly in 12th, Dev Gore, Cian Donaldson, Freddie Spindler, who we saw involved in an incident with Callum Ilott, Harry Tinknell, Mike Epps, Cameron Das in 18th place, FIA Formula 3 driver as well as number 1 on his car. And then further down, Josh Malin, Tristan Nunez, Jake Dalton, Taylor Barnard, Victor Garcia, Jaden Conright, Matt Greenwood, Christopher Tarhan, Adam Christodoulou, Callum Ilott, who we saw unfortunately in an incident earlier, Liam Lawson, who we saw have a massive crash into the pit barrier, we must say, James Davison, who spun in turn number 2 and caused chaos, Max Futrell, Hugh Barter, Alfred Nilsson, Luke Bennett, Ben Barnacle, Sandy Mitchell, Matthias Kaprick, and Will Stevens are the final classified runners. James Pohl, Jonathan Hoggard, Raoul Hyman, Oliver Jarvis, Richard Verschure, Ido Cohen, Emilian Denner, and of course, no sign of Ramiz Azam. He's there in 40th as classified, but that is absolutely no points for the Canadian, and an unfortunate day for him, as these are all the guys who took part today. Of course, Sasha Fenestres, who we saw in the wall, and we heard from him earlier, Nico Verone as well, big name, Enam Ahmed as well, who we thought had so much more to give, and unfortunately was involved in his own incident. Bart Horston, Fraser Sheeter, big names there, Gus Bowers, who we saw get podiums all the way through, but a little bit unfortunate for a lot of those guys there. But we're now going to head to the post-race interviews. We're passing over to Gemma Scott, who's going to have a chat with a lot of our drivers. Gemma, it's over to you.
Thank you very much, Jack and Chris. What a fantastic race that was. Certainly what we expect to see from this series. Close wheel-to-wheel racing. Danny Juncadella, a fantastic win. Joining me right now, Danny, you have been dominant throughout the whole evening. We saw you first in each of in your heat, and you led the race from start to finish, making it look easy.
Well, yeah, thanks. I don't think it was that easy as today. You can imagine that with this big field of drivers, the level is very high, and I really enjoyed it. But I'm sweating my pants off because, wow, I was every lap flat out. Felipe, I know him; he's very quick in Formula 3 cars as well, and he was coming closer at a certain point, so I was a bit worried. But yeah, to be fair, I held it together, and even though I messed up qualifying a bit because I qualified 10th, but yeah, I got a good start on my heat and managed to win that one. So that was good for the final because it gave me a bit of a relief for the first few corners. But yeah, nevertheless, a lot of fun and really enjoyed it.
It's your first race with us this evening as part of this series, and I think we've thrown you in a baptism of fire against a real close competition field.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I hope it's the first of many.
So do we, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no, it's good fun this kind of series at this time, and you know, we are all at home, we are willing to go racing, and this kind of events, it's a lot of cool for everybody, and you can see it with so many drivers being keen to race. That shows you that we are all wanting to go for it, and yeah, good to be here.
And very interesting to say how you are sat there sweating now and tired, just going to show how physically demanding this sim is as well as the real deal.
Well, it is, but I would say of course, physically, you can make it as physical as you want. Depending on your pedals and your steering wheel, you can adjust the forces as much as you can. I don't do it that much, but to be fair, I think most of the sweat is from a mental kind of tiredness, I would say, because we are going for the limit for every 100 in every corner, and that's precision, and all that is a lot of mental activity, I would say, in that, and that's what makes it so tiring as well.
Well, you drove a great race. Thank you very much for joining us, Danny. We'll see you again next time. And our
thank you.
third place driver, Ollie Rowland, is also standing by to talk to us. Ollie, not quite the result you wanted, but you're showing consistency and getting up onto the podium now. It's the points that count in the championship, isn't it?
Well, exactly. I mean, to be honest, I'm actually really happy because I'm not that experienced at this sim racing, and each week I'm getting better and better. So, first race to finish on the podium, I'm happy. So, the two guys in front are a very high level. So, but I enjoyed it. It was good fun.
Yeah, I think you are one of our drivers who's come to the sim last or later into the lockdown time and into the sim training. So a great drive, and as we see you moving on up through the points next time, slightly higher up on the podium, perhaps.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Keep trying, keep doing the hours, and hopefully we can get that win soon.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us, Ollie. Well done. Third place for Ollie Rowland there. And in second place, of course, Felipe Drugovich. Felipe, you've been shining through your experience throughout the series so far. Great to see you in that second place, but you just couldn't push it enough to catch Danny.
Yeah, it was really close at the beginning. I could get a good start, went to P2, and then I had a good rhythm in the first half of the race. I caught him a little bit. I think it was 0.9 or 0.8, the minimum gap that I got. And then there was a little mistake in the last chicane. And from there on, he was a little bit quicker towards the end of the race with the shift of the car balance. So yeah, but it was really fun. Good result for the championship.
And quite a lot of action there as well. We noticed further down behind you, you managed to stay clear of all the dramas.
Yeah, it's always well. And when you put 36 F3, F2, F4 guys into one track, it's always gonna be some drama. But yeah, you normally try to stay out of the dramas. Of course, you have to push. You have to be confident in the moves and try to make this happen. But yeah, I think most importantly at the first lap, especially with this tire model, is quite tricky in the first lap not to spin or crash. So on the first lap, I tried to be a little bit safe, even maybe a little bit too safe that Daniel put away quite a bit. But yeah, it was really fun.
I guess this week you guys have had time to test as well on the Suzuka circuit. For next week, we're going to make it even harder. The circuit will only be announced 24 hours before the end of before the actual race takes place. So that's going to make it a little bit tougher.
It's for sure. Well, yeah, it's gonna be a little bit tougher for the people that test. I didn't really. I just tested like 1 hour ago because, of course, I knew the track from iRacing. We normally drive here, so there wasn't much wide to test. But yeah, I did some laps 1 hour before. But for the people that have been testing a lot, yeah, for sure, it's gonna make the life more difficult for them.
Well, certainly make it more exciting for the viewers as well. Thank you very much, Felipe Drugovich, for joining us there. Thank you to all of our drivers for joining us tonight. A wonderful performance, a sterling drive from Daniel Juncadella, who joins us tonight for the very first time in the series and showing that he is 100% somebody to look out for as we move forward throughout the series. And don't forget, if you enjoyed that, then join us again next week where you could be part of selecting which track we go to. That's right. You could get your vote in via Twitter. Head on over to @BTSport. And the choices for next week's race are there for you to vote. Barcelona, Daytona Speedway, Interlagos, and the final track you can choose from is, of course, over in Canada, the Montreal circuit. And don't forget to use your hashtag #IsolationRacing. And we'll be making an announcement just 24 hours before next week's race. That means our drivers, as I said, have less time to practice, bringing us even more excitement as they head out onto the circuit with very little warm-up time. So get voting and we'll be able to see you again next week for more fantastic racing live here on BT Sport. Until then, take care for now.